his reaction. Now let's get Advocate Terry Price on that decision by Judge Makaula to then postpone this matter. Just go through what will be happening from now onwards until that day when you guys come back to court.
Well, look, it would have been very difficult for him to give a judgment straight away. I mean, he's been addressed on two very big issues, and by both parties. He's been referred to a lot of case law, and what he's done is taken time to prepare proper and thorough judgment, which is what I'm used to with him. So he'll come back on Tuesday and he'll either make the decision, well, there are a number of decisions he can make. He can refuse us leave to appeal on both the application on the quashing of the charges and the recusal. He can give us one and not the other, or he can give us both. So there are many options. Either way, whatever happens, and this must not be seen as a threat, these are instructions, we will be going to the SCA either with his leave, or if he doesn't give us leave, we will petition the SCA and ask them to give us leave to appeal.
You argued in court several times how his words might have not sit well with the accused, in the sense that the judge wishing Zondi well on her exams might sound biased to the accused. Have they communicated with you how they felt about how Judge Makaula has carried and listened in the proceedings?
Look, I want to make one thing very clear, and Mr. Dobin made it clear as well. We have no problem with the judge wishing Ms. Zondi well for exams. I mean, I wish her well for exams. Our problem is he's saying that she's not here for herself, she's here for justice, and his final comment that she must go off and write exams and leave justice to, as he put it, us. Now, I cannot and I will not say that he meant that maliciously, but the meaning that he wanted it to bring is, I can assure you, very different from the way the accused and we took it, because it's very easily interpretable as meaning that you go off and write your exams, I'll sort this man out. In a case with as much emotion as this, you've got to be very careful what you say. So we don't have to prove that he's biased, and we're certainly not even insinuating he's biased. We only have to prove that a reasonable person in the position of the accused might believe that he's biased, and those are the grounds that we raise here today.
There also is a lot of backlash in the way a Doberman has questioned Shaul Zondi. And you did bring up that part about him asking the centimeters of the penis. Now, you mentioned that it was necessary for that question to be asked.
Yeah, we must be very careful. There are people out there that haven't got a clue what's going on in this case, especially the social media. The newspapers as well, I must be critical of some, are not reporting this thing fully. So there are serious issues where Doberman strikes a very good point. Let me just give you an example. If it is correct, and Doberman's got the material, the documentary evidence to show that Cyril Zondi claimed that Mr. Omotoso raped in a particular period of time and he was overseas and in a particular house and he wasn't in that house, other people were in it, that alone could cause a court to reject her evidence. That's how important it is. I would like to ask people out there to stop guessing. They don't know what's going on here. If they want to go, they must read the record. Mr. Doberman is an exceptionally talented guy. He works very, very hard, and he's really put a lot of work into this. You also won't intimidate Mr. Doberman easily. He doesn't take a step back. He works for his client's money. The question about the centimeters, I said to the judge, I thought it was maybe a little bit crassly put. Maybe he shouldn't have asked centimeters. He should have asked things like exactly where on the vagina, the labia minora, etc. Because it's all about penetration. In her statements, she did not mention any contact with the penis and the vagina, nothing. In fact, all she talked about was ukumecha. I don't know if your listeners know what ukumecha is, but it's the penis being rubbed between the thighs of the maiden. It's got no vaginal connection, and that's what she said happened. But now in chief, she turns around and she says she was penetrated. So he's got to ask that question, because otherwise he'll be convicted of rape and not attempted rape or indecent assault.
And also, Peter, so you're saying that her statement is contradictory?
Oh, without a doubt, from what I've seen. Remember, I'm not in this court, so I don't want to fall for the same trick I've just mentioned now. People are making comments and they don't know. But I've read the record. And speaking for myself, and only for myself, I've been in this game 30 years. If I was on the bench, I wouldn't accept a single word she said.
And you mentioned how the charge sheet is not what it's supposed to be. Talk to us a little bit about that.
When a person has to plead, you must know what you are being charged with. You must know. So he's been charged with, let's call it rape for argument's sake. He has to know when this happened. Because how does he plead if he doesn't know when it's happened? If they say to you it happened in 365 days, your ability to raise an alibi, which is a very powerful weapon for an accused person, that's happened here, when Doberman brought out the air ticket to America, is gone. Because if you say, well, in June I was in Nigeria, then they turn around and they say it didn't happen in June, it happened in July, or something like that. So a charge sheet and its accuracy is so important that it's actually included in the Constitution. And that is why Mr. Doberman refused to plead. He was correct in refusing to plead. He couldn't plead. So that's why a charge sheet is of vital importance. In fact, if you ask me, I think that's the stronger of our 2 points that we brought today, the charge sheet.
All right. Thank you very much. Terry Price, advocate here at the Port Elizabeth High Court, just giving a reaction following the postponement of this case. And also you heard from the Deputy Minister of Police, Bongani Mkongi, out here strongly supporting the victims in this case. Back to you, Tulas, in studio. Thank you.